And for more, we welcome in our political panel now, David Carlucci, Democratic strategist, former New York State Senator, and Elizabeth Pipko, former spokeswoman for the Republican National Committee. Thank you both for joining us tonight. Great to have you. Elizabeth, we'll start with you. You know, South Korea, key U.S. ally. At the same time, the president backed this action. South Korea's foreign minister says he was concerned by the operation. Now you have some warning all of this may increase tensions between these two nations after South Korea pledged that $500 billion in U.S. investments. What do you see the impacts of this being?
Well, look, I don't know. I think a lot depends on the president, the leader that we have. Currently, we have Donald Trump in the Oval Office, and I think he's probably the best person that we could have to diplomatically resolve this. I rely heavily on his ability to talk to foreign leaders, whether adversaries or allies, and to make sure that America is in a good spot regardless of a situation. I thought his message was very correct. It was very fair. We want you here. We want you investing here. We want you working here. We just ask that you respect our laws. I don't know why anyone would have a problem with that, especially elected senators in the United States of America. It's obvious that the politicization in our country has gone a little bit too far, but the fact is his message was clear, it was fair, and that's the message that we should expect from any U.S. president, Republican or Democrat.
And David, Jorge underscored this in his reporting. These nationals are set to be released and flown home. This is part of a deal with the U.S. What are your thoughts on that handling, whether or not we may see more deals like this in the future?
Well, yeah, I think this could have been done with a phone call. To see that this is the largest ICE raid in U.S. history, you hear that headline and you say, oh, wow, we can sleep easier at night. We finally got rid of the gangs that we were promised Donald Trump would go after. But no, it's a factory with Hyundai workers and other workers there. Yeah, we should go after this, but it should be the priority after we're getting violent criminals. And it looks like this could have been done with a simple phone call to the management there at this company. So, yes, it's important to be following the rules. Of course, we want that. But to see that this is the largest show of force of ICE, it looks like a waste of resources, particularly when we hear about how big of a problem it is with crime around the country. If we're going to tackle the crime issue, first, it's not just about illegal immigration. Yes, that's one part of it. But if we're going to talk about that part, please, let's prioritize. Let's go after the criminals that we've heard about so much. That's the problem here.
And, you know, some on the other side may argue they're doing both at the same time. But, David, I do want to switch gears, stick with you, and turn to the latest out of Chicago. We had the border czar, Tom Homan, maintaining that deploying the National Guard is not off the table. You know, there were thoughts that a massive ICE operation would take place this weekend with the National Guard potentially deployed. Now the president saying this decision will take place in days. What are your thoughts on the timeline overall, especially on the heels of the president's Chaipocalypse post that garnered so much attention?
Right. I mean, it's just, is it a joke? Is it not? Are we to take it seriously? This is the problem. We're getting mixed messages sent from all the way from the White House. A post like that is just really not acceptable when we're talking about something so serious as attacking a U.S. city. And that's where we have to get real about this. Yes, we want to go after people that have broken the law. We want our communities safer. But if you're telling me that we're going to reduce crime by putting the National Guard on the streets, our plan is to have Humvees and camouflage on the streets of America, and that's the way we're going to solve crime, I think the president's out of ideas. And if that's the case, then let's talk about the cities with real crime. Let's have a metrics that we can measure and we can agree on if we're going to use the resources of $1 million a day spent on these deployments. Let's use it wisely and go where it really needs to go.
Well, we're up against the clock here, Elizabeth. I'd like to get you in. We'll get your final word on this topic.
Yeah, look, I mean, the fact is crime is a problem, right? It's a problem whether it's at an all-time high. It's a problem if you're in a city that's the worst in this country or the third or fourth worst in the country. It is a problem, and we finally have a president who wants to solve it. I think this has been politicized. I think if there was any other person in that Oval Office, he would be celebrated. I think Democrats are coming out against him because it's Donald Trump, and I think the average American that you ask, Democrat or Republican, they will whisper to you that they're happy that this is happening because more police on the streets are always better. And it's ironic that
but
the party
these
that
aren't
ran on
police on the streets. Police on the
It's
streets would be
ironic
better.
that when you ran on defund the police for so many years and lost, that this is the argument you want to stick with.
Well, I wish we had more time. I appreciate you highlighting the arguments on both sides. Elizabeth Pipko, David Carlucci, always a spirited conversation and always appreciate it. Thank you.
Good to be with you.
Great to have you. Well,